Hey guys, welcome back to the Saiyan channel. What we have for you today is we're gonna have a deck profile on the Masked Saiyan. So Masked Saiyan has fallen quite, was a really great leader when it first came out from set 3. I was part of one of those guys who started using it for the tourney, and especially my first tourney I used Masked Saiyan and achieved quite some results. At that point of time I kind of just started playing not too long ago, so I wasn't very familiar with the Dragon Ball Super mechanics, but after playing for quite some time I kind of understand it better. And I always trying to revisit Masked Saiyan and see if it works. When Tournament of Power came out, there wasn't too much cards that kind of help the leader to make it better, right? But when set 4 came out, there was a lot of black cards, and then there was some great, there was some good red cards too, quite some good mechanics. So I thought about, hey, why not we revisit Masked Saiyan again and try to make it better with all these new cards, infuse it with new life, and hopefully and see it works. So I've been playing it for quite some time, not quite some time, I mean I made the deck 2 days ago, do some play testing and make some changes to it, and it became, and I find it pretty good in my opinion. Right, it's pretty good. So I would like to share with you today, and without further ado, let's go straight to the cards. Let's minimize this, we don't need my face that much. Alright, so if you can see, we have the Masked Saiyan, that's the leader. If you don't know what he does, is that every once per turn you get to build the top 3 from your deck, and if you have one other color you get a plus 5k. And if you have a black card, it gets a critical. The critical is more important than the plus 5k. Okay, if you get the plus 5k, that's good, but minimum you want to hit the critical. So how do you do this? Try to maximize it. It's by making it in a way that it is 29 black cards and 21 red cards. So that's how I'm trying to trigger it, so that I have more chances to hit a crit than the plus 5k. In the end, because you are not actually losing any hand size, if your opponent wants to protect himself, he will either lose a life or lose some cards from his hand. So we are keeping the hand size low, which is what we're trying to do in the end. So it doesn't matter whether the plus 5k, again, that is very beneficial, but what is important is to get the crit card, because in the end it's about the hand size. We try to keep the hand size low. We hit hard and keep the hand size low. So what we have is, the first, it's of course we play the 4 super combos. This is the black super combo. So when you have 5 or more cards in a warp, you could already use it. So you don't have to have 4 or less life or 5 or less life with the Tournament of Power cards. All you have to do is to 5 warp, which is easily achievable in your first or second overrealm. Alright, so the second card that we're going to play, it's some of the set 4 spices that are coming in overrealm 3, and with 1 energy. What you do is, when you play this card using overrealm, you choose 1 skill-less battle card with energy cost 2 or less from your deck and you play it. So it's not top 7 or some, you just search, take your deck, bring 1 skill-less one and play it, and it gains critical for the duration of the turn. So what is your target? This is your target hit. There are 3 targets. There's Kabito, there is Son Goku, or this guy, which is 2 cost 15k that has no skill. You could use either one of them, and if you want you can use all of them, whatever it is. You could play 2 or 3. I play 4 because there are times where this card kind of comes later, so I kind of need this card. So what is good about this card is that if it's in your hands, it's a red energy. So you could use it as a red energy, and this card is in your hands. You have a 15k attack, which is he himself, and then you have another 15k critical attack, that is him. So you flood the board really quickly in 1 turn. So you get 2 hits just like that, and one of them it's critical. The other interesting spice that we have is the overrealm 3 with 1 energy. So what this card does is that when you play this card with overrealm, choose up to 1 of your battle card with energy 2 or less and switch it to active mode. So when you play her, she's a 10k. That's kind of the bad stuff because she cannot hit by herself. So when you play her, you get to choose 1 that is 2 or less and switch it to active mode. So your target is this Trunks, When this card attacks, you may choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. If you do so, this card gains 10k and critical. So what this card does is that when you play it, like you play it for 1, and then you swing it, you take a life. So it helps you to self-awaken to achieve the 15k fast and the card drawing ability fast. So it gets 10k, so this is a 15k critical swing. So what you want to do is you will play her again after your opponent thinks that he or she gets out of that ability, you know, gets out of the danger zone. You play her, untap him again, and swing it. So this is like a flute without the card draw, and of course with one more energy. But we are not playing a blue leader, so we can't use flute. She is the second option, which is pretty good and a surprise factor, because I'm not too sure. I don't see many people using that right now. I live in Europe, I don't really see it at all. But this is the spice that you can do it, okay? So with this Trunks, the thing is, you could swing it again, because this card is when this card attacks. So you could take a life again. This guy becomes a 25k critical attacker. No opponent is gonna protect himself from that. So you have 1, play this, untap him, and then you can go further destruction. Champa, give it a double strike, 35k double strike swing. Your opponent is not gonna be prepared for that. So you have 1 critical damage, 2, 3 critical damage because you swing with her again, and 4 critical damage in 1 turn. But of course you need 3 energy for that. That's kind of like the downside to it. So we played 4 copies of Relentless Destruction Mira. Honestly, this card is not that good in this deck. Sometimes you don't want to. What his purpose is this, that, you know, sometimes you hit the 3 and you have no ability to go for the double strike to bring your opponent down to 3 life. So your opponent is at 5, you have no ability to bring him down to 3 life, but you still have the ability to overwhelm. I usually overwhelm him, and the reason why is because, and I don't hit with him just so that he drops 1 card from his hands. So make him drop a card from his hands, keep his hand size low, and don't swing with him, keep him at 3, because the next turn I'm gonna go for the double strike to bring him down to 3, so that he can awaken by then. Of course, we play 4 copies of Mira from the Darkness, another 20k double strike, 20k critical swing that swings for critical, and for 4 overwhelm energy. We play 2 copies of Trunk Overpower Seeing Time, Power over Seeing Time. So for 4 overwhelm and 2 energy, which is a lot in this deck. That's why I started playing with 3. I reduced him down to 2 because he's not that useful in this deck really. Double strike, when you play this card using overwhelm, choose up to 1 of the battle card in the warp and add it to your hands. Your target is either a your super combo or Champa if you need it, or Miraculous Sun Gohan if your hand size is low. So the other cards that we play, it's a little spice that I added into too, and I'm kind of proud of it. This is Time Ruler Toa. She's from the Villain expansion set, and what she does is that for 4 overwhelm energy, which you always have, so just 4 cards. And what you do is when you play this card using overwhelm, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle card with energy 2 or less and gain control of it. So what is very problematic with this meta now is that we have a lot of this one little creator heater with the Gohan, with the Kappa, with this Trunks that your opponent is also playing, and they are leaving on the board for you to clear it. So you need to clear it, which kind of wastes 1 attack from you, because you're hitting with critical. You want to hit his leader and not his battle card. But the problem is, if you don't take care of these little critters, it's going to be very problematic the next turn. So what this Toa actually do is that you steal their cards and you swing with it. So you take care and make sure that they do not get, you remove the cards from them, and more than that, like to add injury to add insult to injuries, to the injury, what you do is that you choose up, you take his card and then you swing with him and helps you to awaken. So I really like this, especially playing against set 4 decks. you see this really often, and it's pretty much a laugh when you do that. And she's a 5k combo, so you could swing with him, use her to 5k, because 10k is not gonna hit that much. So you want to get the critical in with Towa. Or you could swing with her, then champa it. Whatever you plan to do, depending on the amount of life your opponent has left. So another set 4 cards is Mirror Creator Absorbed. I kind of don't like this. The design is great. I don't like it because Towa, being one of my favorite character, he absorbed her, and it's without consent. If you watch Xenoverse 2, if you play Xenoverse 2, she did not consent on it. So what this guy does is this, that he has Deflect, which is good. For 4 overwhelm, of course we will not use the Union Absorb because that's a lot of things to do before you can even reach there. But for 4 overwhelm and for 4 overwhelm cards and 1 energy, what you do is when this card attacks, this card gains 5k for each card in your warp. Every time I swing with this guy, my attack power is more than 100k. So if your opponent does not have negate, he's dead. Okay, so for the final push, if he's like a double striking, go for it, champa him, go for the 100k, above 100k push just with this guy. Alright, so I think I've talked about this guy. So you choose 1 life, you gain 10k and critical, and hit. So hit, it's only played with this guy because he will become a 15k critical, like same as this, without taking a life. And if you ever have him in your hand, it's a great great red energy because you would never play this guy. We play 3 copies of Quick Rush Trumps. I'm a little bit 50-50 about this card because this card still falls under her, that you can use him to swing for it, and then you can use her to untap and swing for it again. So he is actually very you can use her for utility. And also a lot of times I find that I have too many black cards in my hands, and you could overwhelm 1 time per turn. Even though you have a lot of energy, you cannot really use the black cards if your hands are full of black cards. So that is the bad part about the 21 to 29 ratio. I would definitely might increase this, or I would change this to some cards. I would think about this, but this is a pretty good cards to play in the end. I like it. Have I ever used it? For the last turn, maybe if I have 2 red energy, I'll swing for 15k and make him waste more cards. And of course 4 copies of Furthering Destruction Champa. When you combo with this card, choose 1 of your attacking cards, which is gonna be your attacking card, and it gains double strike for the duration of the turn. For Bodyguard Logic, basically you're not playing negate, so he is a negate for you, and you don't really have a board, because if you play this, they will take him out. If you play this, they will take him out. When you play this, you should combo with it, so it's gone, and all the overwhelm cards will be gone anyway. So if you have this in your hands, you could just play it most of the time. It helps you to either negate 1 attack to block it, or to swing for 1 turn without paying any energy. This is really good just to make sure that, hey, when you play this card, make sure you don't play any other cards before that. Don't overwhelm before you play this card. Always this card first. Don't make that mistake. And the surprise of the deck would be this guy. So especially at the end of the turn, when you have very little energy and you have this card in your hands, or you have this card in your hands, you could swing for it, bring this card back into your hand, and when you have 4 or less cards, so 3 or less, right, excluding him, so 4 cards including him, you could play him for 2. So you could play him, if he is already in your hands, you could play him for 2, swing. Anybody with blocker, they will not block it because that's suicidal. Usually blocker, it's at 5 or 10, they will try to negate this fella. So if they try to negate this fella, your finishing move will be this guy, because they will be lacking of 1 negate. So your chances of them having no negates, it's higher. But if you swing with him, they try to combo it out. That technically kind of signals you that they might not have a negate in your hands. Play this Towa, untap him, because this guy is not reduce this cost in your hands. This is reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand and battle area by 4. That means on your battle area, if you have less cards, like 3 or less cards, this guy is technically a 2. So you could use her, come out, untap him, and swing for it again. Especially if they have all these creatures still in their battle area. Swing for it, they have a difficult time just to combo out of this. So this card, when this card KOs your opponent's battle card, inflict 2 damage. So if they have a 5k or 10k on the board, or if they have blockers on the board, go with this guy, swing with him, and you're gonna get a better result on that. So this is the deck that I have. I hope you enjoy it. I've been having really good fun with it. I can't wait to bring this and play it with it again. I make some changes from the last time I played, right? So that's why I really want to do this. So have a nice day and hear from each. Stay tuned. Ciao. Bye. Two, three.